Hey everyone, and welcome to the final race of Season 5 in the Tom Hanks Racing Series. Today we're at Atoll Rally Stage 2, and this track has a built-in co-driver that announces the upcoming corners. Now this is a mixed stage, but I would definitely say that this track has a lot more gravel than tarmac, but there is definitely some tarmac on here as well. I will not be narrating the individual corners, firstly because there's too many of them, and secondly because there's already that co-driver that already announces the corners, so I don't need to do it. But what I will talk about is maybe the things that you don't see so well on video here. So firstly, of course, as you may expect, the track is relatively bumpy in some areas. Also sometimes it's hard to see the next corner, like this one that we're going through right now, or this one. And while we can get to another hairpin, this is another topic. The hairpins on this stage are extremely tight, like first gear, and almost sort of walking speed, if you want to call it that. Like, look at this next hairpin as well, and some cars do struggle with these hairpins. The Minos was one of them, and basically because those hairpins are so tight, oftentimes you have to go around them so slowly that the car is actually off boost in first gear. This happened to the Minos on most of my attempts, and to some other cars as well. This part of the track right here on the off-colored gravel is the hardest part of the map, in my opinion, for two reasons. One is because it actually has less grip than the other gravel we saw earlier, and we'll see again later. And secondly, because when you're on that trail, the track is relatively smooth, but as soon as one wheel is off to the side just a little bit, it's very bumpy, and that can upset the car very quickly, and that has caused a lot of resets for me. But either way, we are now approaching another short asphalt section with a chicane here that the announcer says medium left and right, but really you can go through there in fourth gear, potentially fifth, depending on the car and depending on how brave you are. But we follow this up with a couple of tight corners here. First gear for this one, handbrake turn on some cars, no handbrake on others. Overall, in terms of performance, you can see that the Marina and Minos are for the most part pretty evenly matched. The Minos was a little bit faster down the straight. The Marina is, in my opinion, a little bit more agile through the tighter corners. So as you will see, it will make up that time here through these corners. And it can just transition from left to right more quickly than the Minos can, but overall these are quite evenly matched. As we get to the final part of the stage, you definitely have to brake before this jump, otherwise you go flying too far and your suspension breaks. I like this cambered corner here. And then we have a fast left-hander and a fast right-hander across the finish line. So, on to the next head-to-head, the Mara versus the HFF. Now, these two cars have been pretty close in performance for all of the season so far, and as we start out here, they are quite evenly matched as well until the first hairpin here, though the HFF seems to have a small lead already. And because I guess it's gonna come down to the tire compound once again. I think that hard compound is just the better overall choice than all-terrain as it seems, because somehow it seems to be grippier not only on tarmac, which is what you would expect, than the all-terrain tires, but somehow the hard compound also seems grippier here on dirt. Either it's the tire compound or the HFF is just set up better and has so much more downforce, and that makes it stick. I don't know which one of the two it is, but either way, both cars are handling quite well here. The Mara is of course a little bit more slidey and oversteery, but it does turn very well. And the HFF is a little bit less pointy, but more steady, more grippy. And as they move towards the yep, there we go, there is the worst part of the map on that, you know, on that off-colored gravel. You see the bumps there, and the HFF is still in the lead, and it will continue to be in the lead for this checkpoint here and through the fast section coming up here. With these two, surprisingly, I didn't have that many failed attempts, not too many resets, which is kind of surprising if you've watched the outtake videos for previous races. But yeah, here I've managed to finish with both of them relatively quickly with a good run, but the HFF overall just seems like the more rounded, more grippy car overall. Even though I do enjoy driving the Mara very much, yeah, it's you know, oversteering is fun, but unfortunately it's not fast if you can go through the same corner without sliding, or without sliding as much. And that's what the HFF is doing here. Probably the downforce helps. Maybe it's the hard compound tires. Maybe it's the combination of the two. But either way, as you can see, the HFF has established a solid lead. And it'll continue with that lead into this final little bit over the jump. And then through the banked corner. And through the fast left and right handers and across the finish line. 332.5 versus 335.1. On to our final pairing. This is the Scarab versus the Zaishin, and this is for the overall victory. Remember, these two are only separated by 0.3 seconds overall. And so this is going to be the deciding battle, I guess, if you want to call it that. So both cars turn very quickly around that first hairpin, pretty much identical times through the first split. Now this part right here is where the Scarab is really good. It's like these transitions between the corners, just, you know, it's very agile. It transitions very quickly, has good grip and good cornering speeds around here, but the Zaishin is doing well too. The Scarab does have just a small advantage here for now, and it will cross this checkpoint slightly in the lead. However, of course, the Zaishin is known for its great brakes, and here it made it around that hairpin a little bit more quickly. And it's also going to be able to stop faster here for this hairpin, meaning it has a small lead through this checkpoint. Now on asphalt, both cars are excellent, but the Zaishin is a little bit better. We've seen that in the past. But now we get to the tricky part, the awful part on the off-colored gravel. And this is where the Scarab is just better sorted in terms of its suspension. You can see how much bumpier the ride is for the Zaishin, and this carries over not only until this hairpin, but also throughout the following part with the long straight and the fast left-hander. You can see it there with the Zaishin. And this is the car was just very unsteady, and that's why I had to maybe slow down earlier than would have been ideal. But you know, trust me, I've tried that so many times, braking later there, and every time I tried that in a Zaishin without slowing down a little bit earlier, I've crashed. So eventually, you know, I had to do it differently. But these cars are so evenly matched so far. Very neck and neck. Maybe the tiniest of advantages going towards the Scarab right now. And it transitions more quickly between these corners. So here it's able to nudge ahead. And then over the jumps, the Saishin does a little bit better because it has more downforce. This is such a close race, and this is for the overall win, remember. The Scarab seems to have taken a small advantage though. Saishin can brake later here for this jump and close most of the gap, but it won't be enough, and the Scarab wins not only this race but the whole season. Congratulations to Grid Ghost. Thanks for watching.